Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Star Wars Sunday. You are listening to Kristen of Krisdoesbeauty, also known as Bonnie DeLovely in the pinup world, and the two movies that we are tackling today are the Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars Return of the Jedi. So, without further ado, the running time of Empire Strikes Back starts at 124 minutes. Release date was May 17th, 1980. The budget was $23 million, and box office broke at $538.4 million. So getting into the plot here, 3 years after the destruction of the Death Star and Rebel Alliance, led by Princess Leia, has set up a new base on the ice planet of Hoth. Their Imperial fleet, led by Darth Vader, continues to hunt for the new Rebel base by dispatching probe droids across the galaxy. Luke Skywalker is captured by a Wampa while investigating one such probe, but manages to escape from the Wampa's lair by using the Force and his lightsaber, before Luke succumbs to sleep, the Force sleep of his deceased mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi instructs him to go to Dagobah to train under Jedi Master Yoda. Han Solo locates Luke, and the two are rescued by a search party in the morning. Meanwhile, the probe alerts the Imperial fleet to the Rebels' location. The Empire launches a large-scale attack using AT-AT walkers to capture the base, which forces the Rebels to evacuate. Han and Leia escape with C-3PO and Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon, but the ship's hyperdrive malfunctions. They hide in an asteroid field where Han and Leia grow closer amidst the tension and briefly kiss. Several bounty hunters summoned by Vader assist in finding the Falcon. Meanwhile, Luke, who has traveled with R2-D2 in his X-Wing fighter to the swamp planet of Dagobah, where he crash lands, he meets a diminutive creature who reveals himself to be Yoda. After arguing with Obi-Wan's spirit, Yoda reluctantly accepts Luke as his student. Luke learns more about the Force from Yoda, and the Jedi Master lifts his X-Wing out of the swamp. After evading the Imperial fleet, Han's group travels to the floating Cloud City, which is run by Han's old friend Lando Calrissian. Unbeknownst to the group, the bounty hunter Boba Fett has tracked the Falcon. Shortly after their arrival, Lando betrays the group to Darth Vader, who plans to use the group as bait to lure Luke, intending to capture him and turn him to the dark side. Luke has a premonition of Han and Leia in pain, and against the wishes of Yoda and Obi-Wan, abandons his training to go rescue them. Vader selects Han to be frozen as a test subject. Han survives the process and is given to Boba Fett. Lando, experiencing a change of heart, frees Leia and Chewbacca, but they are too late to stop Fett from departing with Solo aboard. They fight their way back to the Falcon and flee the city. Meanwhile, Luke arrives and engages Vader in a lightsaber duel that leaves them over the city's central air shaft. Vader cuts off Luke's right hand, disarming him, and tempts him to join the dark side. Luke accuses Vader of murdering his father, but Vader reveals that he is indeed Luke's father. Disbelieving, Luke drops into the air shaft and is ejected beneath the floating city, where he hangs from an antenna. He reaches out telepathically to Leia, who senses him and persuades Lando and Chewie to turn back. After Luke is brought aboard, they are chased by TIE fighters towards Vader on his Star Destroyer, but R2-D2 reactivates the Falcon's hyperdrive, following them to escape. And that's pretty much right about where we end with that movie. And now getting into Return of the Jedi with a running time of 132 minutes, released May 25th, 1983, with a budget of $32.5 million, and broke box office at $475.1 million. Attempt to rescue Solo from crime lord Jabba the Hutt. C-3PO and R2-D2 are sent to Jabba's palace on Tatooine in a trade bargain made by Luke Skywalker. Disguised as a bounty hunter, Princess Leia infiltrates the palace under the pretense of collecting the bounty on Chewbacca and unfreezing Han, but is caught and enslaved. Luke soon arrives to bargain for his friend's release, but Jabba drops him through a trapdoor with the intent of letting him be eaten. After Luke kills the creature, Jabba sentences him, Han, and Chewbacca to death by being fed to this big, huge creature plant thing in the ground of Tatooine. Having hidden his lightsaber inside R2-D2, Luke frees himself and battles Jabba's guards while Leia uses her chains to strangle Jabba to death. Luke then returns to Dagobah, where he finds that Yoda is dying. Yoda confirms that Darth Vader, once known as Anakin Skywalker, is indeed Luke's father and becomes one with the Force. The Force Ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi reveals that Leia is Luke's twin sister and tells Luke that he must face Vader again and finish his training to defeat the Empire. The Rebel Alliance learns that the Empire has been constructing a new Death Star under the supervision of the Emperor himself. As the station is protected by an emergency shield, Han leads a strike team to destroy the shield generator on the forest moon of Endor. Doing so would allow a squadron of starfighters to destroy the Death Star. Luke and Leia accompany the strike team to Endor in a stolen Imperial shuttle. Luke and his companions encounter a tribe of Ewoks, I love those, after an initial conflict and gain their trust. Later, Luke tells Leia that she is indeed his sister, Vader is their father, and that they must confront him. Surrendering to Imperial troops, Luke is brought before Vader and tries to convince his father to return from the dark side of the Force. Vader takes Luke to the Death Star to meet the Emperor, intent on turning him to the dark side. The Emperor reveals that the Imperial forces are prepared for the Rebel assault on the shield generator and that the Rebel fleet will fall into a trap. On Endor, Han's team is captured by Imperial forces, but a counterattack by the Ewoks allows the Rebels to infiltrate the shield generator. Meanwhile, Lando Calrissian lead the Rebel fleet in the Millennium Falcon, only to find that the Death Star's shield is still active and the Imperial fleet is waiting for them. It's a trap. Further adding to the crisis, the Emperor reveals to Luke that the Death Star is fully armed and operational and orders the firing of its massive super laser, destroying one of the Rebel starships. The Emperor then tempts Luke to give in to his anger, and Luke engages Vader in a lightsaber duel. Vader senses that Luke has a sister and threatens to turn her to the dark side. Enraged, Luke attacks and cuts off Vader's prosthetic hand. The Emperor instructs Luke to kill Vader and take his place, but Luke refuses, declaring himself a Jedi like his father before him. Furious, the Emperor tortures Luke with Force lightning, basically dark side lightning. Unwilling to let his son die, however, Vader throws the Emperor down a shaft to his death, but is himself mortally just hit by all the electricity in the process and really kills himself. At his father's request, Luke removes Vader's mask and is redeemed as Anakin Skywalker and dies in his son's arms, and also tells him that he was right about him. Ugh, that part always makes you cry, thus making him the real chosen one. After the strike team destroys the shield generator, Lando leads a group of Rebel fighters into the Death Star core. While the Rebel fleet destroys the Superstar Destroyer, Lando, an X-Wing fighter pilot, destroy its main reactor. As the Falcon flies out of the Death Star's superstructure and Luke escapes on a shuttle with his father's body, the station explodes. On Endor, Leia reveals to Han that Luke is actually her brother, and they kiss and make up. Luke cremates Anakin's body alone before rejoining his friends. As the Rebels celebrate the defeat of the Empire, you get a nice kind of vision of all the different planets from the prequels and the originals. You see Naboo happy, rejoicing. Coruscant even is tearing down their Empire statue. You see the planet, I can't think of the name of it right now, I just talked about. But everyone's so happy that they are finally out of the Empire. and the Force is finally at peace and balance into the galaxy. And while all that is going on, everyone's partying with the Ewoks. You see Luke, who sees the spirit of Yoda, Obi-Wan, and a young Anakin Skywalker, which is actually really funny when you look at it, just because one is Hayden Christensen. My question is, how would old Obi-Wan know, or more like, it's like, why would you have old Obi-Wan and young Anakin? Even though I love Hayden Christensen, I don't care what any of y'all say, but it's still kind of funny. Also, Obi-Wan does not look so happy to see him, as he probably shouldn't be, considering that was who killed him. So anyway, that was wrapping up the prequels and originals of Star Wars. I may or may not do videos of the 2 newer ones leading up to the newest movie, Rise of Skywalker, coming up, but let me know in the comments down below what y'all think, and if we want to see a continuing of this leading up into those and going up into Christmas. So I will see you then with my next video, and let me know what you think. See you then.